I'm Andrea Florence. I'm on the final jury of the Animal Nature Future Film Festival at Cambridge University. I was secretary of the Natural History department. And I noticed that David Attenborough, famous wildlife producer and commentator, was also, years before, was also secretary. So I wrote him a cheeky letter and said, would you like to come and give a talk to our society at Cambridge? And amazingly, he said yes. And normally you would have about 20 or 30 people at something like that. But obviously there were hundreds of people. We were two of us in the middle of the jungle in a hut. And one day, we were there for about 2 months, I think. And one day there was a knock at the hut door. We opened the door, and there was this apparition of this man in a white safari suit. And he said, I'm from the BBC, and I'm interested to find out about your work with gibbons. He had a rucksack with cold beers, so we invited him in, and chatting with him about the work in the BBC and elsewhere, making wildlife films, struck me as being a fantastic way of communicating the importance of protecting the natural world. So I guess that's what set me on the track to wildlife filmmaking. When I left university and had done some research, I joined a production company specialised in wildlife films, and I travelled kind of extensively for years to Belize, mainly rainforest, Belize, Indonesia, Sulawesi, and I spent about 3 years in the Amazon. And also one of the films we made was about proboscis monkeys in Borneo. And they're the monkeys that have the male has a long nose. Females are very pretty, the male has a big, and to eat, he has to lift the nose up to put food in. Anyway, we filmed that, made that film, which was lovely. But what was amazing to me was that the researchers there used the film to show to government officials in Borneo because they were trying to protect a huge area of mangrove where they live. And that area did become protected. So to me, I thought that was quite special. It shows that, you know, some films can actually make a huge difference. Last year, it was the hottest year in 100,000 years. And this year, I think it's going to break that record. So now more than any time, it's vital that we put out the message of protecting the planet and doing everything we can to champion change. Filming wildlife, natural history, animal filming, our relationships with animals and nature. Putting that on film and communicating that with people, to me, is a very, very important idea. And I think what you have to do is find new ways and fresh approaches so that you engage a very wide audience. And what we've done in the past is a number of things. We can just show the spectacular, you know, like blue and gold macaws fill the sky with colour, or amazing new behaviour. There's this fish in the Amazon called the arowana, and it leaps out of the water to capture spiders and things on branches. They'd never been filmed before. And we filmed this in sort of ultra slow motion, and it's fantastic. But other ways, you can have interesting presenters. We did a series, and the presenter was a very unexpected presenter, Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols fame. And that drew in a hugely different audience, which is quite important. And then using CGI, you know, it's such an important topic and important to show a diversity of films. And actually, I have to say, being on the final jury and viewing all the films was fantastic because there's such diversity among the films that you had selected. Animal Nature Future Film Festival, I think, is so important, such a powerful way to shows people the connection between nature and people and the environment, and to, champion positive change. And I was delighted to see such a variety of shows and amazing topic. There's that magical film which showed the life in a drop of pond water. That was amazing. Observational documentaries. One was about teenagers that were saving puffins, and there was an interesting parallel between the life of the teenager starting out and the life of puffins starting out. That was a charming film. Then there's some interesting dramas. One was showed very cleverly the cruelty in slaughterhouses, but in the form of a drama, so you were caught up in the topic. That was very clever. It was experimental films. One about the impact of fireworks on pets, all pets, and all animals actually. And that was interesting because the director had used GoPros strapped to dogs on the run-up to the New Year's Eve. I mean, it's great to see so many young people have films in the show, and great films as well. Amazing. Was even a film directed and produced by a 10-year-old girl, so that was delightful. But I think it's vitally important, and it's great to see this trend because the young people are the stewards of the planet. In fact, there was one film that had that famous quote, I try and remember it, which is, we don't inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children. Youth today are very conscious and aware and proactive about the environment and nature, which is fantastic. And actually, I think that has driven the growth in certainly conservation biased films, because in the past, broadcasters would never commission films that had a message about, the rainforest and whatever. Now they do, but of course it has to be done in an engaging way. But I think it's absolutely important to encourage the young. I'd also like to just have a word about diversity, because over the last 10, 15 years, there's been a lot more opportunities for women in filmmaking in general, and obviously environmental films, which is great. And I think that having diverse filmmakers gives much, much richer storytelling. And, particularly local people telling their own stories from their perspective. And there's one film in the festival called Farewell Chang Kang, I think. And that's about a herder's family who are having to relocate from the Tibetan plateau to the city. But before they go, the brother and sister in the family want to take back some images of the wildlife that they know and have encountered all their life, and in particular the iconic snow leopard. So they set up camera traps, and it's amazing some of the images they got with the camera traps. In the past, BBC filmmakers spent weeks and weeks, months and months trying to get these images, and they got some great images. It's fantastic. And definitely I would urge everybody to go and see as many of the programmes as possible. There's some fantastic films there. There's such diversity. There's something for everybody. And I would go a step further and say, don't just watch them, be proactive, maybe participate in some conservation projects and initiatives. A lot of the films have outreach programmes you can participate in. And every person who helps, every person can make a difference, but one person can make a difference and enjoy.